El Corazón de la Pelea is the name of The Heart of the Fight, a couple's guide to 15 common fights, what they really mean and how they can bring you closer, in Spanish. And we will be traveling to Colombia, and the book will be launched in Colombia in Spanish, El Corazón de la Pelea. And it's so exciting because one of the most important aspects of our book about couples and the heart of the fight, Couple's Guide to 15 Common Fights, what they really mean and how they can bring you closer, is that it really demystifies what people think a great relationship is. If you want a relationship where you don't fight, it's fine, but it doesn't mean that you're close and growing closer. Think about it. How could we really dance well together if we didn't step on each other's toes? Similarly, a couple that is fully engaged, each of them following what you will learn in the book, their yearnings, following their yearnings, not just what they want, but their yearnings. They are going to have moments where each of them yearns for something different. Man, we now have conflict. Now, what are they going to do with that conflict? Well, sometimes if what my partner wants is not very important, it's not going to repeat, I may just go along with it and wait and hold off my deeper yearning and going to fulfill it. However, sometimes what I want doesn't matter as much as the relationship. That's when I become a pleaser. I accommodate. I try to keep the peace and the relationship in good shape. Now, in business, there are times we've got to do that. But if we're doing that in our committed relationships, we're digging ourselves a hole. Yeah, we're really digging ourselves a hole because it's going to build up. It's going to be like lumps under the carpet. And sooner or later, the carpet's going to get so lumpy, it's going to trip us. And then we're going to have a major fight because I tried to keep the peace on an issue that was important to me. Now, there's certain times that we keep the peace and it really doesn't matter that much to me. But if I have a deeper yearning and something I really want and I sell out over and over again, that's when the carpet gets lumpy and it's going to trip me. And we're going to have to resolve a conflict that I have been avoiding by pleasing or managing the other person. Now, there are times that I'm going to just compete. I'm going to go for it no matter what. It's what we call competition. And I won't care about the relationship. Wow, what's going on there? Well, that's what's traditionally called a win-lose attitude. I win or I lose. If I don't win, I think I lose. Yeah, when I'm pleasing the other person, it's a lose-win. I lose on what I want, but I win on the relationship, which is necessary in business a lot. And there are some situations in a committed couple where that's just fine. Now, we've now got a situation where my yearning doesn't matter, I avoid. I just don't even engage and just let my partner go ahead and do stuff. Now I've got another situation where I give in, I accommodate, I seek to please my partner. Well, if I don't really care, as I said before, that much about it, no problem. But if I care about it or I start caring more about it, then that's when we get the lumps under the carpet that are going to trip us. Similarly, I can create a lot of hard feelings if I'm competing to get what I want all the time. Yeah, if I'm competing to get what I want all the time, I'm compromising the quality of the relationship. In a committed relationship, that may make me a domineering, controlling person who is collecting enormous material under the carpet that is going to really trip me and trip my partner. And I'm not appropriately choosing when to compete. There are times that I really need to compete. There's something urgent. There's something going on. Same way in business. There are times we really need to go for what we want. And the relationship doesn't really matter that much. But we better be sure, if we're going to fight for something, that we're willing to deal with the repercussions of losing the quality of rapport with the other person, of being kind of alone on an island in a relationship. I think we all know what happens there. Then there's sometimes where we feel we really want it, they really want it, and we compromise. Well, compromise is between pleasing and between going for the goal. We can call that win some, lose some. Yeah, so I lose-win when I'm pleasing. I win-lose when I'm competing no matter what, and I don't care about the relationship. It's kind of lose-lose when I just avoid. Now, when I win some, lose some, I'm compromising. And there's a time and a place for everything. Pleasing, compromising, competing, avoiding. Sometimes it's easier to think about the avoiding. You go to pick your car up and they put a $1 tab on something in your car that think is going to help it run better, and you didn't approve of the dollar, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to recur, and it's not a great deal of expense. And so you may point it out and say, hey, I'm going to go along with that this time. Next time, you've got to tell me what you're going to do, even if it looks like it's something really small. Then there are those times when what I get really matters, and the relationship really matters, and what my partner wants really matters, and the relationship really matters. And that's where we get to what's normally called win-win. We need to engage in the conflict in such a way that we can have creative outcomes happen. In business, this is really a critical skill. To really want the relationship, want the best for the other person. Win-win, synergy is what we call it, but win-win means I have to want the best for you and assume you want the best for me. Now, in order to get into a real win-win negotiation, I need a lot of skill. I need serious social emotional intelligence. I need to be able to keep track of what I want, that I want to please you, what you want, and stay engaged as we keep going to it, dealing with the friction until we start finding the true win-win outcomes. Because this is where creativity really starts happening in a couple. This is where the heart of the fight really gets cool. The heart of the fight gets really, really cool when we find ways to solve problems that we never dreamt possible. We didn't see it until we engaged in the tension with the values on each other's satisfaction and the relationship and the outcome. Very complex. Not many people have that level of skill to be able to engage in conflict at that level. So, what is it we never fight? I promise you, you're avoiding a lot. That's the lose-lose point of view. You may think you're win-win, but if you can't conflict about competing wants, don't kid yourself. You're probably not deepening the intimacy, the closeness, and you're probably not using this relationship to learn and grow. After all, what's the purpose of a relationship? But to learn, to grow, and to power us to become the best us that we can be, so that we can be the greatest service to our world. No conflict, not much growth. You may have a steady state that you'd like to take to the grave. It's your choice. But if you really want to learn and grow and experience intimacy, closeness, in a way that works as a womb. The relationship is like a womb that nurtures our development. You'll hear me say this over and over again. And it's like a crucible. You put the Bunsen burner, the heat under the crucible. You put the object in the crucible and it burns away the impurities. So what else do we want to have a relationship for? Just to get by, to have kids, to have somebody so that we don't feel alone? That's all a choice. Lots of people, that's all they want. But if you really want an engaged, growing, dynamic relationship, yeah, go for it. But you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to put the time in. See, a win-win synergy outcome requires time. It requires skill. It requires investment. You may need to develop the skill to do that. You may be the one that gives in all the time. So you need to learn to fight for something. Or you may be the one that just fights all the time. You may learn to let go and focus on the other person and understanding them and what's going on with them. The heart of the fight, el corazón de la pelea. Hope you can see us and join us in Colombia.